The 2023 Formula One season gave us a new definition of domination, with Red Bull Racing winning all but one race, all but one sprint, and 81% of the total possible points haul. While 2024 initially promised a similar result, it soon became apparent that all was not well within the Austrian team. At the time of recording, Red Bull sit third in the championship standings, having just broken a 10-race winless streak thanks to the skills of Max Verstappen at a drenched Interlagos. Had the race been run in the dry, it's almost certain that the RB20 would not have made the podium. So what happened? How does a team go from total domination to scrapping just ahead of the midfield? And perhaps most importantly, who's to blame? On the 22nd of October, 2022, Red Bull co-owner Dietrich Mateschitz passed away. The Austrian businessman was responsible for bringing the then little-known energy drink to the global market through his acquisition of 49% of the company from Thai founder Chalio Yovidia. His investment in the company not only sparked a revolution in the beverage market, but it also began a brand integration that today sees Red Bull as a leader in extreme sports, most notably Formula One. Under the stewardship of team principal Christian Horner, the Milton Keynes-based team has won 7 Drivers' Championships, 6 Constructors' Championships, and 121 races. It has furthermore trained up numerous drivers through its Red Bull Driver Academy and junior team currently known as Visa Cash App RB, resulting in over a quarter of this year's grid owing their careers to the energy drinks company. It is a remarkable success for a team up against legacy motorsport heavyweights such as Ferrari and McLaren. So Uno, you ask, what's the problem? Well, after Mateschitz's death, a new dynamic took hold of Red Bull Racing. The Thai majority shareholders wanted to exert more influence on the team, whilst the Austrian owners tried to keep control in the Mateschitz family's hands. Thus ensued a Red Bull civil war, with key figures in the racing team choosing sides. The first faction is led by the Yovidia family and counts Horner, Perez, Ricciardo, and arguably some of the team's key sponsors in its ranks. The second faction, led by those loyal to the Mateschitz clan, counts Helmut Marko, 3-time world champion Max Verstappen, and his father Jos in theirs. The jostle for position amid the power vacuum created by Dietrich Mateschitz's death was predictable and expected. These are all men hungry for glory, and an opportunity for real control over the most influential F1 team of the 21st century was within reach. But what was a rather straightforward contestation turned truly ugly in the build-up to the 2024 season. Earlier this year, at pre-season testing in Bahrain, team principal Christian Horner was embroiled in a sex scandal, having allegedly cheated on his wife, former Spice Girl Jerry Halliwell Horner, with a Red Bull employee. Accusations of sexual misconduct soon followed, with Horner's antics being labeled by some as predatory, given his position of authority over his colleague. Whilst the relationship between Horner and his unnamed colleague at first seemed consensual, text messages leaked to the press showed a relentlessly pathetic man unable to accept or realize that the affair was over. The validity of these messages was questioned, with some suggesting Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko was responsible for orchestrating the leak, while others argued that there was nothing untoward about the affair. In most professional organizations, a sexually inappropriate relationship with a subordinate would be grounds for dismissal, pending the outcome of a disciplinary hearing. And indeed, Red Bull launched an investigation into Horner's alleged misconduct, led by an ostensibly independent third party. But all was not as it seemed. A defiant Horner appeared with his wife at the season opener in Bahrain, clutching her hand for all the cameras to see, whilst his allies came to his defense. Sergio Perez stated, "It will be ideal to just keep the whole team together and just focus on racing. Obviously, there are some things out there, but the most important is that we stay together as a team." We know that Christian is a key player in our organization. Ricardo was a bit more contemptuous of the allegations, calling them noise and distractions. The complaint against Horner was dismissed shortly after the Bahrain GP, with the findings of the investigation not disclosed to the public. Following this dismissal, the aforementioned texts were sent in a Google Drive to teams and journalists in the F1 community, and it was revealed that the so called independent investigation was led by a barrister with close ties to the Yovidia family. This led many to doubt the legitimacy of the investigation. Was Horner actually guilty of sexual misconduct? Had Red Bull's majority shareholders engaged in a cover up? And who leaked the text messages? The answers to this will probably never be known, but Helmut Marko was soon under pressure, facing a suspension of his own for his possible role in the text message leaks. The Red Bull civil war was not over. This time, it was Marko's allies coming to his defense, with the Verstappen family backing him and threatening to leave Red Bull if Marko was let go. Amidst all this conflict, a key Red Bull figure would find the situation untenable. Adrian Newey, the man who had designed the team's championship winning cars, announced his intentions to depart. Was he simply retiring after a long, successful career? No. He was in talks with Ferrari and later signed a deal with Aston Martin to oversee their 2026 development. And he wasn't the only one planning to leave. McLaren CEO Zak Brown had this to say on Newey's departure. Knowing Adrian pretty well, he's a very high integrity individual. I'm not surprised he's moving on. The stuff that's going on there is a bit destabilizing. It's probably not the first domino to fall. We've seen an increase in CVs coming our way. Over the course of the 2024 season, multiple Red Bull employees resigned from their positions to take up jobs at other teams, such as sporting director Jonathan Wheatley and head race strategist Will Courtney. A brain drain was in full effect, and it showed. Red Bull's dominance came to a halt in Austria, and the development of the car was hindered. Sergio Perez was scrapping for 1 or 2 points, and Max Verstappen was lucky to get the odd podium. Both could often be heard on the team radio complaining about the car. 2 cheating rumors also emerged during this period, one about a braking system and one a system to change the car during Parc Ferme. The FIA quickly outlawed these systems. And whilst the FIA has since cleared Red Bull of the latter allegation, it was difficult for F1 fans and commentators alike to not draw conclusions about the drop in Red Bull's performance. And the turmoil within Red Bull was beginning to spill over into their sister team. Visa Cash App RB driver Daniel Ricciardo was seen as the prodigal son of Red Bull, the man who left the team years ago to seek glory, but returned, humbled, and ready for redemption. With Sergio Perez's lackluster results, there was a chance he could be replaced mid-season, and Ricciardo was Horner's preferred candidate for that seat. But Ricciardo too was not having a stellar season. The VCARB team had taken the wrong direction with their upgrades and had been overtaken on track by the likes of Haas and Williams. This, along with teammate Yuki Tsunoda's strong start to the season, didn't help Ricciardo make his case. This was a prime ground to continue the Red Bull civil war, and with Helmut Marko having recently renewed his contract and gained back some power, he made his move, replacing Ricciardo with Liam Lawson, a Red Bull reserve driver and Academy alumni. One of Horner's key allies was suddenly out of a seat, and the ongoing war threatened to remove another. With 2 of Helmut Marko's proteges now at VCARB, he could set his sights on Sergio Perez, adamant that the Mexican be replaced by either Tsunoda or Lawson. And that's where we find ourselves today. Neither Tsunoda nor Lawson have the financial backing that Perez has, and so their candidacy for the second Red Bull seat is somewhat handicapped. Should Perez be fired? With the questionable development of the RB20, it could be argued that Checo's poor performance is not actually his fault. So, what is the problem? Because there's definitely a problem. The situation at Red Bull is unsustainable. with drivers being used as weapons in a war between billionaire beverage barons and their flag bearers, while the wealth of skill and knowledge within the outfit has been carried off by other teams, capitalizing on the mayhem at Milton Keynes. There is nothing that can be done about the contestation between the shareholders at the energy drinks behemoth. It is a matter for corporate lawyers and greedy heirs to deal with. But the Formula One team cannot be allowed to be torn apart by this war. For the sake of the company and thus both factions, a sacrifice must be made to redeem Red Bull Racing and return the team to a time of peace and prosperity. And to me, the man who needs to fall on his sword or be put to it is Christian Horner. His personal ambition, carnal vices, and desperate attempts to evade responsibility for his actions have nearly collapsed Red Bull Racing. Newey is gone, Verstappen is having second thoughts, sponsors are unhappy, and the Red Bull Driver Academy has stalled, with multiple drivers waiting to take up a position at the senior team. And Horner's not done yet. He is trying to bring in Argentinian driver Franco Colapinto as a means to appease sponsors and thus curry favor with the true bosses of Red Bull. It is an act of such shallow strategy and deep desperation, it should be pitied. Colapinto is definitely a rising talent in Formula One, but he is untested. In Yuki Tsunoda, they have a tested and loyal graduate of their junior driver program, and in Liam Lawson, they have a less experienced driver, but one who understands the Red Bull family and how it works. To overlook either of these drivers for promotion to the senior team, or overlook other juniors like Isaac Hadjar and Ayumu Iwasa for promotion to the junior team, is a mistake Red Bull has made before. Nick de Vries was poached from Williams to lead the junior AlphaTauri team, but crashed out after just 10 races. Furthermore, putting a relatively inexperienced driver into the second car has also not worked in the past. Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly's brief tenures beside Max Verstappen are testament to this. But Horner will press on, unwilling to learn from the past, to ensure Helmut Marko does not gain an advantage. Verstappen is loyal to Marko, and Tsunoda and Lawson are loyal to him too. They all owe their careers to the man. Horner cannot afford to lose his ally in the second seat. Ricciardo is gone, Checo is likely going. In Colapinto, Horner sees yet another pawn to be used in warfare. With Red Bull depleted of its key personnel and a lead driver losing patience, the team can ill afford another self-serving move by its team principal. The financial cost of Horner's self-serving management style is immense. An estimated $18 million in prize money has been lost this season alone, and the millions spent training drivers such as Tsunoda, Lawson, and Hadjar could very well be pointless. If the Colapinto deal does go through, it will likely cost the team a further $20 million. The source of Red Bull's problem, and indeed the solution to it, is very clear. Christian Horner has engaged in a deeply problematic affair with a colleague, whilst pitting drivers against each other and overseeing one of the most severe outward migrations of talent Formula One has seen in decades. Leadership is supposed to be about selflessness, fiscal responsibility, and keeping the team strong. Christian Horner is the antithesis of that. Despite his decades of success with the team, he has become a liability. To save Red Bull, Christian Horner needs to go. If you've managed to get to the end of this video, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we'd like to ask you to please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We have a lot more content on Traffic Paradise Radio, including a weekly news show and previews and reactions to every race. So click that subscribe button and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.